Okay, so we're talking about the objects to take refuge in. So we talk about the three jewels, and there's one way of describing them where we talk about the ultimate Buddha jewel, the conventional Buddha jewel, ultimate Sangha jewel, conventional Sangha jewel, ultimate, Dharma. Did I say Dharma or Sangha? Dharma. Anyway, the three jewels, both in ultimate and conventional ways. Okay, so if we talk about the Buddha jewel, the ultimate jewel, Buddha jewel, is the Dharmakaya. Okay, so the Dharmakaya is the mind of the Buddha. It can be subdivided into two, into the wisdom Dharmakaya, which is the omniscient mind of the Buddha, and into the Svavavikakaya, or the nature body, which is the emptiness of the mind of the Buddha and the true cessations of the mind of the Buddha. Okay? And then the conventional Buddha jewel are the two form bodies. The resource body, or Sambhogakaya, that's the body the Buddha appears to the Arya Bodhisattvas in the Pure Lands, in that body. And then the Nirmanakaya, or the emanation body. And so that's, for example, like Shakyamuni Buddha, His Holiness, other forms that we can contact directly in our life. So that's called the conventional Buddha jewel. Then with the Dharma jewel, the ultimate Dharma jewel are the true cessations and true paths in the mind stream of an Arya, be it a learning Arya, in other words, somebody who's realized emptiness directly but is still on the learning path, hasn't yet become a Buddha, or the other kind of Arya is a Buddha Arya, an Arya Buddha. Okay, Buddha is also considered an Arya. Okay, sometimes that's translated as noble one, but I think that can be a confusing translation. And then the conventional Dharma jewel are the 84,000 teachings. You know, the scriptures, sometimes they're divided into 9 branches of scriptures or 12 branches of scriptures. So the scriptures are the conventional Buddha jewel because they explain the path, you know, and how to attain the true path and the true cessations, which are the ultimate Buddha jewel. Then with the Sangha, this one's interesting, the ultimate Sangha is again the true cessations and the true paths in the mind stream of an Arya. So the ultimate Sangha jewel is the same as the ultimate Dharma jewel. Okay. Now, why don't we just say the Aryas are the ultimate Sangha jewel? Okay. Well, that's because, with the exception of the Arya Buddha, the other Aryas, not everything in their continuum is untainted. Okay, so we want as our object of refuge only that which is untainted. So since the other Aryas, they may still have the seeds of ignorance, seeds of anger, until they reach certain levels, they have afflictive obscurations or cognitive obscurations. So that's why we don't say that the person, the Arya jewel, is the ultimate Arya jewel, but we specify the true paths and true cessations on their mind streams as the ultimate Sangha jewel. That's what I meant before when I said Arya jewel, Sangha jewel. Okay? And then the conventional Sangha jewel, that is an individual Arya. Okay? And then a representative of the Sangha jewel is the community of 4 or more completely, fully ordained people. Okay, so bhikshus or bhikshunis. And that's because, they may or may not be Aryas, but because they can perform the major functions of a Sangha together, if they have 4 people, then the community itself is called a representation. Yeah. Nowadays, sometimes the word Sangha is used for anybody who comes to a Buddhist center, as you know, I think that is very, very confusing for people, because then when you hear, we take refuge in the Sangha, new people who come in and they look around and I take refuge in these people? I mean, they're sleeping with each other and they're each other's wives and husbands, and they're going out to drink, and the way they talk to other people is not always exemplary, and they're trying, but I'm not sure I really want to take refuge in them. So that becomes confusing. Okay, so that's why I think for the general Buddha, for people who come to a Dharma center, also some of them may not even be Buddhist. So to call them the Sangha, I really think is not appropriate. I think it's better just to say the Buddhist community when we're talking about people at a Dharma center, the Buddhist community. And then the Sangha community, where you have a community of Sangha. And then the Sangha that's the refuge. There we're talking about the Aryas, and in particular, the true paths and true cessations in their continuum. Okay? So it's important to know what these three jewels are and their ultimate and conventional forms, so that when we say at the beginning of all of our practices, I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha, we know what we're taking refuge in. Okay? Because if we say that all the time, but if we don't have a very good understanding of what Buddha, Dharma, Sangha are, then it gets confusing. Well, what are we taking refuge in? And that's why you might find people say, well, you worship idols because we bow and there's a Buddha image. Well, we're not taking refuge in the Buddha image. Yeah, and so when people say, oh, you're worshiping idols, we need to be able to explain exactly what it is we're taking refuge in. Yeah. And also, not just to answer other people's questions, but in terms of our own spiritual practice, so that we know the direction we're taking in our life and who's guiding us. That's so important. Otherwise, we take refuge in the Buddha. Well, what's the Buddha, And then we might even think of some truly existent personality. Yeah? And the Buddha's not truly existent. Okay? So this is, it's very important in our own practice. And when you do the refuge nundro, and you're reciting it, I take refuge in the Buddha and Dharma and the Sangha, you're doing your nundro practice, then you really want to know what the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha are when you're doing the nundro, so that you can purify negativities created in relationship to them and think of their qualities and their qualities coming into you in the form of light when you're reciting the refuge formula. Okay? So it's important for your own practice to know.